Ja heti alkoi, ei oo mitään alkumenoa. Jaha. Budget sound. Okei, hiirennapilla näköjään tää avataan.
A lot of this isn't going to make sense to you. And I'm sorry about that. I'm just gonna start at the beginning. With the house.
Alussa talossa. On muuten... sanotaan nyt, että lievästi erikoinen sen talo. Haulitorni olisko?
I lived here until I was 11, but I wasn't allowed inside half the rooms.
Pylläri.
Inside the mailbox were bills from 7 years ago, marked urgent, open immediately.
Final notice on vähän mennyt. Mielenkiintoinen postilaatikko.
I hadn't been back since my brother Lewis's funeral.
Hauskasti noin kirjaimet. Onko sammakoita?
In her will, my mother left me a key, but didn't tell me what it unlocked. Maybe she thought I'd know. Or she thought that the mystery would be enough to bring me back.
The Finches. 2 reittiä. Puro tosiaan tuli tänne alas. Huh? Missing. Mielenkiintoista. Tuonne ei ainakaan tulettu, olisi voinut ottaa mukaan. Niin.
The truth is, even after I inherited the house, I never thought I'd come back to it. But now I had questions about my family that only the house knew the answers to.
Ja lupineja.
The woods around the house have always been uncomfortably silent. As if they're about to say something but never do.
Vanha auto.
The house was exactly like I remembered it, the way I'd been dreaming about it.
Tutkin ton yläreitin vielä. Siinä on peura. Yllättävän lähelle päästi. Hevosen ääni.
No one had driven this way in a long time, but I saw a few hoof prints.
Okei, tästä me tultiin. Best game ever! Thank you. Just starting this. Been interested on storytelling games, and I got kind of a hint that I should actually go and play this from the professional standpoint. I already like the graphics and design. Pretty much this again. Milton Finch. He's missing.
As a child, the house made me uncomfortable in a way I couldn't put into words.
Oh right, he's this girl's protagonist's brother who died. So apparently they don't need these anymore. All right.
Now, as a 17-year-old, I knew exactly what those words were. I was afraid of the house.
Let's take a look behind. Or it's a garage. Let's see. Yeah, I can't get inside. Ah.
Crawling through the doggy door used to be a lot easier when I was 11.
I bet. It's not a long game, max 2 hours. Yeah, I know, I heard. Walking simulator. Next week, probably something else. Last time we actually finished the Detroit Become Human, and it was really good storytelling game, so I think I'll...
The power had been turned off the night we left.
It was really
For the
good.
first time in years, I felt like I was home.
Okay, everything is left.
But instead of a family, there were just memories of one.
I have theory that people's bookshelves actually tell a lot about people who owns them.
Like how after Lewis started working at the cannery, we all got sick of eating salmon. Except our cat, Molly.
Apple pie. I wouldn't touch those fishes. Again, can't or not.
The table was still a wreck from the night we left. It was like a bomb had gone off, killing everyone but sparing the furniture.
A bit. Vikings Peli.
Nothing in the house looked abnormal. There was just too much of it, like a smile with too many teeth.
The King in Yellow. that actual occult book, I think it's only one real occult book that is in the can be found in Call of Cthulhu pen or paper role-playing game or the computer game. Okay, the weird books.
Even the fireplace had a story. Edie told me the bricks came from the original house after it sank.
Sank. Interesting. This starts a bit like Gone Home, but it's probably much older story. Huh. The Big Book of Homeschooling. Gone Home. I played once ages ago. Yeah, that was pretty good. Hello, Cassie Rat. Have you been playing Gone Home? Then that's Pacific 4, alright. Maybe I need to turn the power on. No. But this is mechanical, right? Yeah, just.
Great Grandpa Sven built a music box for Barbara, along with the rest of the house.
Okay.
Mom always told me to stay out of the basement, so I wasn't too surprised when the key didn't fit.
Okay. Didn't think so. Oh, alright, they had a. Oh, was her brother paralyzed? Yeah, I don't know if you like platform games. I do recommend game called Spiritfarer. It's very different and story driven. I'm really bad with the platformers.
Edie told me once that every Finch who ever lived is buried somewhere in the library.
Okay, this is spooky. Really well closed door.
A lot of things got left behind in the whirlwind of that last night. My mom wasn't much of an optimist, but she never stopped believing that my brother Milton was alive.
I wonder how did he die? Okay, upstairs. That's very well insulated door.
After Milton disappeared, Mom sealed up all the bedrooms. Then Edie retaliated and drilled peepholes.
Peepholes. Alright. Molly.
Molly always seemed like a girl I could imagine being friends with, if she hadn't died in 1947.
Okay. Alright, they have been burying the dead with their rooms, basically leaving the rooms intact when the person has passed. So, alright.
I spent a lot of time playing in Great Uncle Walter's room. Lewis told me there were secret passages, but I never believed him. Turns out, my mom was really good at keeping secrets.
Uh-huh.
Now it was time to find out what my mom had been afraid of. From the paintings on the wall, it was clear my brother Milton had been here before me. Reading this, maybe it sounds like I had a plan. But I had no idea what was behind that door. Just like I had no idea where all this was gonna lead.
Interesting. And saving game.
I grew up looking at Molly's room through the peephole. Being inside for the first time, I felt like I'd stepped behind a painting.
So basically this is like way to remember loved people.
I got the sense Edie had spent a lot of time here before my mom sealed the doors.
December 13th, 1947.
Okay, she was sick.
Dear Diary, I'll be gone soon, but I wanted to tell somebody about what's gonna happen. It started when Mom sent me to bed without dinner. I woke up and I was starving, so I looked around for something to eat. The gerbil food was dry, but I didn't mind it.
Nom nom nom. That's a she-cell.
I kept eating and eating.
Is that safe?
I ate a lot of things that night.
Interesting.
Then I heard chirping outside my window. It was a barn swallow going back to her nest. I reached out for her. And suddenly, I was a cat.
Uh-huh.
I tried to be quiet, but the bird was really scared. Mom and Dad didn't even look at me.
Okay, this turned out pretty weird, pretty
I
fast.
jumped and I almost got her.
Or then again, she might be dreaming, so. What is this? Treehouse, old-fashioned treehouse.
I could tell she was getting really tired. Now I was up in the big tree. I promised Dad I wouldn't climb it anymore. All I cared about was eating that mama bird. I gobbled her up. And suddenly, I was an owl. First, all I heard was the wind. Then I heard little teeth nibbling in the grass. Rabbits. face looking up and seeing mine through my talons. I swallowed him up, and I didn't chew one bit. Then I flew off to find something bigger. A mama rabbit. She was almost too big to carry. I started choking, but I couldn't stop eating. And suddenly, I was a shark.
Well, that's kind of weird. Okay. Okay, this is. I think I can work with this. Rolling and rolling.
I rolled off a cliff and into the ocean. Now, I was hungrier than ever. I wanted fat, juicy seals. I tore off her flipper, and it tasted really good. Grabbed on tight. When I was so hungry, I jumped out of the water. When I opened my eyes, everything had changed.
Okay.
Now I was a monster, and I smelled people everywhere.
Uh-huh.
I was big, but I moved real quiet.
Okay, this girl has, let's say, interesting dreams.
I wanted to stop, but also I didn't. Passenger, I was still hungry. And across the water, I smelled something new. Something I had to have, so I swam towards it. I slithered onto the sand, and the good smell went into an old pipe.
Right. This escalated quickly from the toilet. Okay.
I got closer and closer. All my stomach started growling. And suddenly, I was me again. I held my breath for a long time, but I couldn't hear anything. I think it's waiting for me to fall asleep. But it's not going to wait much longer. It needs to feed, and we both know I will be delicious.
Right.
I'm not sure if I believed all of that, but I'm sure Edie would have.
Okay, so this is their family tree. She died in 47. Okay, interesting. So, peepholes. That was a cat. Then again, she could actually crawl around.
This will be obvious later, but my mom never told me any of these stories. Edie would have, but Mom didn't like bringing up the past. Though, when we adopted a stray kitten, she was the one who named it Molly.
What's that? An old ship or something. And a statue. So basically, Molly died from eating random crap which caused her to hallucinate. Eventually died from fruit poisoning. I hope that makes sense. Yeah, it kind of makes sense. Very children way to
I
die.
spent a lot of time in Great-Grandma Edie's room.
She got oxygen.
Her room was like a museum.
Odin Finch. Nice beard.
For 500 years, the Finches have been famous throughout Norway for their fortune and misfortune. Odin Finch buries the latest victims of the family curse, his wife Ingeborg and their newborn son, Johan. On January 7th, 1937, he set sail with his family and his house, hoping to leave the curse behind.
Okay, so the house came with him.
But 40-foot waves off the coast of Washington send the house and Odin to the bottom of the sea.
I bet.
Odin's daughter Edie, with husband Sven and baby Molly, step ashore on their new home, Orcas Island. Odin Finch is the first to be buried in the new family cemetery.
Oh.
His daughter Edie is already dreaming of a new Finch house.
Okay. How do I stop watching this? I mean, really, how do I stop? Well, I'm playing with the keyboard. Although the controller, I think it's it's actually connected. No wonder.
Whatever's wrong with this family, it goes back a
Yeah.
long ways.
I had a controller. So let's see. Do I? The mysteries and death of the thereafter.
Louis died a week before we left, but Edie had already started to memorialize him.
Edie knit me a new pair of gloves every year, just in time to replace the old ones. Edie gave a big interview about a mole man living under the Finch house. My mom was furious. I hadn't thought of myself as Edith Jr. for a long, long time.
Random junk.
One summer, they evacuated the island, but Edie refused to go. For a few weeks, she was a celebrity.
About 1937.
When Edie told people Sven was killed by a dragon, she could also have said he was building a dragon-shaped slide that collapsed. She could have, but she didn't.
Right. Norwegian folktales.
Even in her 90s, sometimes Edie seemed a lot younger than my mother.
The only trace Grandpa Sam's first wife, Kay, left on the house was the pink bathroom.
Eh.
It was a pretty big trace.
What? Horrible. There's a secret in this bathroom.
There's a secret in this bathroom. It's in the last place you would look. It isn't in the cupboard. It's hidden in this book.
Of course. Slightly weird family.
Sven gave Sam an old camera he'd refurbished. He never put it down.
Hilton has been here. Okay, and now we are at the memorial room. Okay, so this guy was in the Marines.
I knew Grandpa Sam had a twin. And that he never talked about him.
Walter. Let's check the rest of the room first. Fort Sam. Command center.
I guess my grandpa didn't like history any more than my mom did.
61.
How I Want to Remember My Brother by Sam Finch. The thing I remember is that when he made up his mind, that was it.
Okay. This guy actually broke his leg. Could happen.
My brother said he'd die before he ate another mushroom. And he did.
Ah. Now
At Barbara's
we are
funeral,
talking about.
He swore we'd never be afraid again. And he wasn't. I think Calvin always wanted to fly.
Okay, did he fly over here? This thing is pretty dangerous place here.
But that day, he finally made up his mind to do it. I told him
Boys
going
and
around was
boys.
impossible. Maybe if I hadn't said that,
Once around and then to the.
maybe if the wind hadn't picked up, then maybe he'd still be here. But I doubt it. I think he'd already made up his mind. That's what I want to remember about my brother.
It's a pretty strong boy. Okay. Let's break the
He made up
physics.
his mind to fly. And he did.
Little boy broke the physics.
Calvin's story felt strangely familiar. When I was younger, I remember trying to do the exact same thing.
Uh-huh.
After the funeral, Edie roped off Calvin's half of the room.
Mom said Grandpa Sam enlisted at 18 and never set foot in the room again.
I bet.
The passages were a pretty tight fit. They'd obviously been built for smaller hands and bellies.
storage for wine and same time it's
Edie's father Odin built the original house.
secret hideout, a secret way. So then we are
Mom must have
going up.
locked the third floor stairs on the night we left.
Okay. Okay, we can't go up. Can we go back in? No. So
Barbara was a child star for 2 years, until America grew out of it.
okay, so we are right here. How do we get inside there? Probably just walk around.
My Grandpa Sam spent 7 years sharing a room with his dead brother,
Okay.
Calvin.
Oh,
As a kid, I just assumed every house had peepholes and sealed rooms you weren't allowed inside of.
The last time I was in Edith Sr.'s room, I was 10 and she was painting my portrait.
okay, so we started here. And went here and then what's left? Rooms at this side of the house.
Whenever people ask me about my family, the first thing they always want to know about is Barbara.
I will take that as a clue that we should actually get into Barbara's room next. Not upstairs, but Barbara's room. This looks a bit suspicious. Look at this. We visited this side of the house already. Okay, no go. So anything at downstairs we need to see. Go back to the wine storage where you came out. Yeah, I'll try it, but didn't give you any option to. Is that just okay? Walking simulator, just walk towards. No. Okay, her brother was here as well.
Growing up, I always thought of Barbara as a child star.
Oh, I think she managed something.
I never thought about how hard it must have been for her afterwards.
Really old gang, Barb Street. Nothing lasts forever.
Of all the stories people wrote about Barbara's death, I'm surprised Edie saved this one.
Old Jack here with another ghastly tale inspired by America's most unfortunate family. I'm calling it The Surprise Ending of Barbara Finch. As a child star, Barbara was famous for her scream.
Well, funny thing you
Now
said
at
that.
16, she was all washed up. A has-been. But in a lucky break,
Yeah,
she'd been asked
definitely.
to perform her signature scream at a local convention for monster movie fans. It was just the boost her career needed. Unfortunately, her scream hadn't aged well.
Getting better. I think you just need the right motivation.
Her biggest fan and current boyfriend, Rick, was about to demonstrate when...
Now that was a great scream.
It was Barbara's father, Sven. He'd slipped into a table saw and had to be rushed to the emergency room. So Barbara got stuck babysitting her youngest brother, Walter. Her convention comeback was cancelled.
Okay, I'm hearing frustration, but I'm not hearing terror. What if I tried...
A gang of hoodlums in Halloween masks have been terrorizing Orcas Island tonight. Police are urging residents to...
That came from the basement.
You're right! Also, I loved your delivery on that. Why is your basement door locked?
Because my dad likes making puzzles and secret passages. There's a key hidden in the music box. The secret is to keep winding and winding until finally the key pops out.
Thanks, babe. I'll be back in a sec.
20 minutes later, Rick hadn't returned. So Barbara went to look for him, right on cue. She reached for the music box.
Hand icon.
And as she wound the key, she listened for Rick, but the house was silent.
Halloween music.
She found Rick's crutch and imagined the worst.
Also pretty basic Unity cartoon. Style shader here. Can I get through here? Okay, I can get through here.
The gang's leader is the infamous Hookman killer, Dr. Carl Hamill, who impaled and then ate his family 10 years ago tonight.
Okay, that's Dad's blood.
The old fridge rattled and grew still.
Oh dear!
Oh!
Rick?
Well, that
Barb,
was right for
relax.
him.
I was just trying to scare you to help you find your scream.
Well, I'm not scared, Rick. I'm furious.
Then act furious. All I'm getting from you now is that you're hurt and confused and you...
She threw him out, but she kept a little something to remember him by.
Barb, have you seen my other crutch?
And she was still holding it when she fell asleep watching the late picture show. Hours later...
Barbara! Walter, what's going on up there? Ah! Okay, I'm coming up, but if this is a trick, you're dead, Walter.
Crutch as a weapon. Oh, that doesn't look good.
Walter, are you there? Walter had vanished, but his bedside radio was still on.
Orcas Island police describe the man as 6 feet tall, with a steel hook for a hand. Residents are urged to lock all doors and windows and notify the police of any suspicious activity.
Barbara turned, saw the hook man, and was speechless. He
No
was
scream.
quite smashing. And he was. He couldn't get enough of Barbara.
Okay, Barbara, there's gotta be another way out of here.
That night, she played her part beautifully. Molly's door hadn't been opened in years. The hinges groaned. He wasn't moving, but she sensed the story might not be over yet.
Of course he vanished.
Had vanished.
Of
She
course.
listened
Why
for
not?
his breathing, but all she heard was... At the door, she heard whispering. It was coming from inside the house.
Oh dear.
The monsters had come to surprise her. For Barbara, it was a dream come true. Then she saw what kind of monsters they were, and she realized what was about to happen. She was going to be famous. And with her final breath, Barbara Finch gave the performance of her life. I wasn't there
Right.
myself, but I hear Barbara was magnificent. Poor girl. She had a taste for stardom. But unfortunately, so did her fans. Of course, the police blamed it all on poor Rick, who disappeared the same night. And little Walter? Hiding under his bed the whole time. He took it all pretty hard, but that's another story. As for Barbara, tucked inside the music box was all they ever found of her. Her ear. Now that's what I call a real eerie tale.
Alright, so, music box.
Edie told me all Barbara wanted was to be remembered, as absurd as that comic was. Maybe what Edie saw was a happy ending.
Right. So, on to the music box.
I guess now I know why Mom didn't like me playing with the music box.
Clever reuse of assets, by the way. Alright. Now we get bottom of this. So how much of that comic is true, I wonder?
Mom
Well-
said the basement was off limits, unless I wanted another tetanus shot.
Yeah, that's stable, so alright. And that's the dragon. So he was a builder.
I saw Edie sneak down to the basement once, carrying packages.
I thought maybe she was hiding presents.
It turned out she was hiding a lot more than that.
Right. What is this?
I remember asking Mom once about where Walter had gone. She said after Barbara died, he got as far away as he could.
So was their mother prepper?
If there's a pattern in all these stories,
The one of those who actually prepare for nuclear war or something?
I think it's that none of us has gotten very far.
Yeah, true that.
Goodbye, everyone. I can't believe I've been down here for 30 years. On that first day, after the shaking started, I didn't think I'd survive a week. But after a few days, I settled into a routine. That's what kept me sane. Having a schedule, living for today. I always expected to be dead tomorrow. But if you wait long enough, you get used to anything. Even a monster on the other side of the door starts to feel normal.
This one was difficult to work
Almost
out. I
friendly.
think she got murdered by her obsessed fan from the Comic Con. That's probably right. I think I was thinking the same, that
And then one day,
monsters were
everything
humans.
just stopped. Whatever that thing was, it was gone. Maybe it got tired of waiting. Or maybe I just got tired of being afraid. It's been a week now, the longest in 30 years. I'm done waiting. I have to leave. Well, I still can.
Yeah, this is nuclear shelter. Definitely. Quite a house. I mean, generations on top of each other.
I know it's out there, somewhere. Whatever killed Barbara and Molly and Calvin.
Okay, this is a cesspool.
Maybe this is all a mistake. But I need to stop living the same day, even if it kills me. Whatever's out there, I want you to know I'm ready for it. I'm going to appreciate all of it, especially the food. I don't mind if I only have a year left, or a month, or a single week. I'd be happy with one more day. I can already imagine the sun on my face.
2005.
Walter died when I was 6. I can't believe my mom never told me he was down here.
Right. Well, that was weird one.
I'm sure my mom was trying to protect me.
I mean, the weirdness factor in this game is pretty high. Model train.
Maybe she was afraid I'd end up like Walter. But if she never told me about an uncle under the house, I can only imagine what else she was hiding.
Yeah. Can't imagine.
I don't want to make the same mistakes she made. Trying to bury something that's still alive.
You got to have some decent amount of imagination, stories being told from a creative perspective, or more
Now
like.
There's only one of us left, or maybe 2.
An unreliable
I thought
narrator.
it was time I heard the stories for myself. And found out what happened to everyone
Because
else.
every family has some story, like.
But now I'm worried the stories themselves might be the problem.
Yeah, this is like those stories turned
Maybe
up
we
to
believed
the
so
11.
much in a family curse. We made it real.
Yeah. Okay, he died here. The train was late. That hat, it's like prisoner's hat or something. So yeah. Makes you
I don't know if
wonder.
I should even be writing this.
Makes you wonder. like every family has their own curse. I mean, for a long time we had
Maybe it'd be better if all this just
Kind
died
of.
with me. But I thought you should know about your family.
yeah. That's really important. We actually had to bury our grandmother last week. For real. So
And the history you're a
family
part
is
of.
precious. Even if they might be
Though
odd
to be
people who
honest,
want
I
to
feel as
live
lost
under
as
the
you
house.
probably do right now. I think the people in these stories believed them, for what that's worth.
What's that worth? Yeah. Stories for our families.
And when you look at the house, that history of imagination and stubbornness and madness, any of it seems possible.
I mean, look at that house. That's crazy contraption.
I think we've been surrounded by death for so long, we've just gotten used to it.
Can I pick up the lantern? No? Okay.
What kind of family finishes building a cemetery before starting the house?
Yeah. Good question.
It's embarrassing for me to admit this, but the pet cemetery made me more uncomfortable than the human one. 3 of the gerbils were mine, and 2 had been my fault.
Alright. Derby Junior. Chirpy and Burby. Furby. Lurpy. Chirpy. Okay. That's decent pet cemetery. I mean, they have a even stone grave marks.
Sven built the house, but it was Edie who designed the cemetery.
Okay. Oh, that's cute.
I'm sure Odin's monument had been Edie's idea. My mom was always trying to move on, but for Edie, the past never went away. She
Sinking
could see
house.
it poking out of the water at low tide.
Ah, so the old house actually sunk there. This red light. Kind of hazard.
Edie said she dreamed about the old house every night.
There's a rocks and the house is there. So what's the next goal?
Edie's side was always easier for me to understand. But the older I get, the more I can see where my mom was coming from. Her dad had been pretty strict, but it wasn't enough to save her brothers. She was just trying to do better. She lost 2 of her brothers, just like I did. I get why she tried so hard to protect us. There's so many things I wish I could ask my mom now. Part of me thinks this is what she wanted all along. For me to come back someday and find everything out for myself. But looking back on it now,
I had a tree
if
house
she told me there
when
was
I
going to
was
be
a boy.
so much climbing,
Yeah, too much climbing.
I never would have come when I was 22 weeks pregnant.
Okay, she's pregnant and actually, well, that kind of explains why she is actually having a need to deal with the costs of the past. Pretty daring.
I never met Grandpa Sam, but I think he and my mom had a lot in common. They were both pretty intense.
Taxidermist and hunter of good US Marines, okay. Sam was the Marine guy.
Dawn, I promise, you'll never forget this weekend.
Yes, sir.
These memories are gonna last a lifetime. Perfect.
It's gonna rain the whole weekend, isn't it? I will never forget this weekend, Dad.
Okay, got it.
I'm gonna take some pictures, okay?
Just be careful. That camera's older than you are.
First picture is probably something like this.
You're right, Dad. It's starting to clear up. Still freezing, though.
So what time? Oh, there's a verb.
Aw.
The thing with the cameras is that they used to have a like.
Hold still while I take a picture.
Hey!
That's a keeper.
Yeah, I have been taking same kind of pictures sometimes.
I'm just saying, I'm not always gonna be here, Don. You'll need to remember this stuff, if you want to survive.
I'll be fine, Dad.
You know who else thought he was gonna be fine?
Some guy who died.
Don, I'm being serious.
I know, Dad. You're always serious. Doesn't being out here make you want to chill out?
Well, to tell you the truth, I haven't been out here in 20 years.
So basically, the old cameras were kind of finicky because limited because they had like set amount
Last
of
time I was
shots,
with my brother Calvin.
like 24 or
That was a
32.
great trip.
So you couldn't really take much of the
Your grandpa Sven taught us how to
in the
fish,
way of the pictures
how to build a fire.
and memories. But then
Don,
again,
don't
they
you
kind
think
of
you could find something more
they are
interesting to
almost-
photograph?
almost eternal with the negatives. So
We found an old logging trail. There were deer everywhere.
oh dear.
I bet if I could remember where that trail was, we'd spot a buck for you in no time. Give me a minute to check the map.
Oh, there's a bird.
Dad!
Good eyes, Don. Before you take the shot, let me get a picture of you.
Dad, I...
Just breathe. Turn off your imagination. Focus on your target. Let me get behind you.
Do I have to do this?
Don, you don't have to do anything. But if you want to survive, you'll need to be strong. Great shot, Don!
Okay, that wasn't so happy.
I'm proud of you, Don. Always remember that, okay?
Okay, she didn't really like it.
Dad, it's twitching. I think
That's
it's
totally normal, Don. Just focus on the camera. Try not to think about...
Dad!
Damn it. Okay, that's how he died.
Of all these stories, that's the one I wish most that my mom had told me.
Yeah, kind of. Could have helped. I mean, getting out of the.
Sam spent his life shooting photos, but Mom said he got nervous being in front of the camera. I guess we're all afraid of something.
Ah, so he was war correspondent or something. Okay. Apparently got wounded. I don't know many of these, but that's a Purple Heart.
Instead of hiding from death, Sam seemed to go out of his way to meet it.
Yeah. Kind of. Some people are like that. Okay, and this is closed.
After Sam died, my mom and Edie got really close. They'd both lost a lot.
Finch control. Gregory. Okay. Gregory and Dawn. Divorce contract. Okay, this is probably pretty accurate text.
Okay. Do you remember the way Gregory used to laugh when he thought he was alone? Like something funny was happening, but only he could see it.
Yeah, that's a frog. Testing that my microphone is still working. It's working.
I think he saw things the rest of us don't.
Gregory, it's time to... Hold on, sweetie. Hello? Sam, I told you I don't want to talk right now.
I wonder what he saw. Reminded me so much of Calvin. Lost in his imagination.
Okay. Alright. Copyrighted music. No doubt.
Whatever it was, he saw.
Okay.
It sure made him happy.
I think I need to get up there.
I know how silly it sounds. But I worried about a baby being too happy. But I could feel him slipping away.
Sorry about that, Gregory.
I know you did everything you could.
Okay, what happened to him?
Damn it. Hold on, I don't want Gregory to hear this.
I wish he could have told us about the world he saw.
Thrown in a bathtub.
I don't understand. About Gregory. About everything. But I know what happened wasn't your fault. I'm sure he's happy. And he'd want you to be happy too. Good luck, Kay. Love, Sam.
Well, that was
I
odd.
can't imagine my mom ever writing poetry, and yet
Gus. A poem for Gus.
A poem for Gus, who always said the wedding was a bad idea.
Uh-huh.
Our father never hit us kids, at least not very hard, before the day my brother said with teenage disregard that he'd be dead before he'd see a wedding in our yard.
I like these mini games because
My
they are
father made them
actually
come, of
part of
course,
the game.
but Gus stood far apart, just flew his kite and bottled up the storm inside his heart. I tried to talk him out of it, but though he'd never met her, we don't need a stepmom were the words that I
now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride.
So on seaside would be good place to actually fly the kite because there's always wind coming. Thanks for a follow-up, Master Betty. Only now did I notice it. Okay, what should I do here?
When the time for photos came, Dad ordered him to come here. But Gus declined and as a sign held up his middle finger.
Yeah.
The wind picked up, and panicked geese appeared and quickly went. But all the humans did that day was go inside the tent.
Okay. I think I know where this is going.
The rain came down in buckets then, but no one seemed afraid that nature might destroy the tent our dad had crudely made. The thunder sounded much too close and full of angry power. But all my father said to this was, "Make the music louder." I wish that I could truly say I thought about you on that day. Out there on the beach alone, just you, the wind, the sea, and foam. But I didn't. Until we found you.
Ah. Accident at the wedding.
She never talked about him, but Mom told me once if I was a boy, they were going to name me Gus.
Sad, sad, sad. Oh. His own climbing wall. Emergency evacuation plan. House rules. Okay, no. Ah!
My mom moved up to the loft after her brothers died. At the time, it was as far away as she could get.
She's pregnant and she still goes climbing. That's like... Is that junior PC or PET computer?
She spent a summer building houses in Calcutta, where she met my dad, Sanjay.
Right. Fly to India. Then ways to teach critical thinking for the homeschool student and teacher. Religion, science, math, history. Alright.
My mom moved to India a week after graduation and got a job teaching English. Louis was born a year later.
And then we are reminded of him being missing. And dead.
When my dad died, I don't think Mom knew where else to go. I'm sure Edie was happy to have her back. And to see kids in the house again.
Yeah, probably. Meantime, Sage Basil. Dawn and Edith and Milton, Louis. Well, that's the way to assign chores. So
The house had to get a little
Works.
bigger, but Edie was used to that.
So They have been just adding houses on top of houses and new wings and new secret passages and stuff like that. Almost like living in a treehouse.
And for a while, things were good. Almost normal.
That's cool. Homeschool. Family history, fact or fiction. Dungeon Master. Masters of Game Design. Extra lives. Cheat Code. Kings. Wall 3. Pretty good jokes, some of the books here.
But it didn't last.
Yeah. I bet.
The beginning of the end was Milton's 10th birthday, when Edie gave him a castle.
Wow. Well, it's a castle. I like the graphics in this game. I mean, huge amount of assets. You really don't use that much. Or you use.
After Milton disappeared, the only thing he left behind was a room full of paintings.
Oh. 1992, and they haven't added the Day of Death because it's Edith's job basically to remember her family members, which is kind of understandable, but this family makes it really odd. Although this is actually a story how to remember your family and how to get past the sorrow and longing. Climbing rope for... No, okay, it's an elevator. So his shrine is here. Nice paintings. Paints and paintings.
Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush.
Huh.
I was 4 when Milton disappeared.
Okay. Louis is the newest. So they never recovered his body. That's why there's no date of death.
Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the doors.
So
I think Edie was happy to finally have another painter in the family. Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out.
this might be peculiar. And it goes over. That's like Moomin house.
Mom definitely blamed Edie, but I think Louis blamed himself. After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room. Until Mom got him a job at the cannery. Everyone always told me to stay out of Louis's room. Except Louis. Louis's room smelled very, very familiar. That part of him lived on.
Right. Okay. Locker contents. Conspiracy now. DVDs. Liver twist. High school.
Louis and I spent a lot of time playing games together, but he was surprisingly bad at them. He died a lot.
Dear Mrs. Finch, as
Okay.
Louis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Louis first noticed the monotony of his daily life. He kept working at the cannery. But he withdrew part of himself. In our sessions, I saw the same behavior. His mind began to wander. I asked him to describe it. He said he started small, imagining a labyrinth.
Sounds a lot like me.
He'd feel his way about. Then something moved. Bats. And toads. And things that have not names. He knew it was all in his head. But he took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself. But he found something more. I worried about him then. Daydreaming at the cannery, I spoke with his boss. But he said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused. Like a whole new Lewis. So I let him go on.
Okay, this can't end well.
I even encouraged him. It seemed very promising at first. He told me he'd made a new friend.
Doggy.
On the edge of a city he named Lewis Topia. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians.
This can't end
And songs
well.
for them to play. He talked about starting a band. And he was always humming something.
Yeah, problem with the monotone job is
Every
that
day
your
his
head starts to
imagination grew
wander.
stronger.
Especially if you are a creative person.
He no longer spoke at the cannery.
Okay, this is
But
getting
his
bad.
chopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination, so he could do whatever he wished. He held an election for mayor. And he won. They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him. He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on. New Louisville. St. Louis. He started drifting away from our reality. Minneapolis. Until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery. Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Lewis kept sailing on. In Louisburg, he heard rumors of a
Okay. Select what you like.
handsome queen. The queen was on her own quest for sinister serpents.
Pick your own story.
He followed the sound of her
electric sitar.
electric sitar.
Just for your interest, Milton disappeared. He's another game in same developer's kind of unfinished Sven. Really? Not the same game that is
His
Milton's
chase led
bedroom
him to a
style.
golden palace east of the sun and west of the
All
moon.
right.
Even then, his logic
Yeah.
remained sound.
I started to think that did I miss something when I didn't see anything about Milton's disappearance. You know, he has forgotten the reality.
He knew the world was all in his imagination. But he was so proud of having created it. In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king. For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it struck him that the real Lewis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace. My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him. He began to forget the world we know. I think it pained him to remember Lewis, the cannery worker. He began to despise the man with a royal contempt. I still thought I could save him. Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder. The palace would be packed with his companions. Including the wise Calico who'd insisted on advising him. His queen waited, holding his
Yeah,
crown.
giant cat.
There was only one thing left to do.
I don't think there's a happy ending in this story. Honestly, yeah.
Bend down his head. And the rest I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
Emily Nuth.
My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him.
Oh, that's the whole family here. Two more. Two more. What? Okay, there's nothing here. No, exit. No, I didn't want to go back there. Yeah, walking simulator. So, two more meaning... Okay, Dawn. Dawn and... somebody else.
On the way back from Lewis's funeral, my mom told me to start packing.
Huh.
She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie. I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder. I wish we'd stayed. But I understand why we left.
Old Finch kitchen.
My mom ended up leaving everything behind.
She couldn't bear to take them with her. I think.
What happened that night had been coming for a long time.
Okay, how did she die?
Maybe it should have come sooner. But it had to end one way or another. All that's left now is to tell you about that last night.
Feather.
That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper,
Edie
when
and
she
Dawn,
raised her
okay.
glass and said,
To our final night together, and all our final nights apart.
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
The power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance. Or that Edie had a key to it.
That thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight. We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning, okay?
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out.
Super tide.
It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean.
Ah, okay.
They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years.
But
God, it smelled awful. You know, I've seen that house every day of my life. But I never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way. I got turned around. For a while, I wandered. I started seeing things. Things I'd forgotten had ever existed. But when I saw them, they felt like old friends. That night, a lot of things came back to me. Or maybe I came back to them. Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it! Let go!
I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car. I never saw Great-Grandma Edie again. The next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone. After that, we moved around a lot. We both tried to make the best of it. A few years went by. My mom didn't like to talk about it. But she started getting sick a lot. The rest happened pretty quickly.
In 2016.
She got better for a while, and then she didn't.
Yeah, that can happen.
And then I was alone. The last Finch left alive. Until I found out about you. I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is. This journal was supposed to be for you. But now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you and tell you all these stories myself. But I guess if you're reading this now...
Ah, baby.
Things didn't work out that way. This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it.
It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone.
I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
Okay, she died soon after giving birth. Giant Sparrow for Shirley Dallas. I need to check their other games. Old pictures of the developers. Works. Lead artist. End of everything. Yeah. I really like this. I mean it's about story of the family, extended family, and the stories behind each and every one of them. And this game is magical. Yeah, it is. It actually grabs some basic fundamentals of human life. Like, we really can't know what happens. Everyone can get sick. Everyone can have a mental illness, for example. And for myself, my grandmother, who we buried last week, she got a surgery and didn't actually make it. She didn't improve after surgery. So after a couple weeks, she was gone. And she died at an age of 90. So, very good age. And that's just one of story. We have a lot of stories. And it's actually a good thing that we actually share and tell them to our family and children. We shared a lot of similar stories, not as graphic and weird stories after grandmother's funeral, and yeah, it was good to share, to tell how much people meant and what kind of episodes they had in my life. Yeah. 90, yeah, she had a good life. I do think so. And we were reasonably close. So yeah. Games can be a medium of storytelling, and those stories can actually tell something meaningful. Just laughing though to these pictures. Yeah. And that's one of those hallmarks or benefits of gaming, that you can actually tell stories and create your stories and experience them. Playtesters are books. Special thanks are videotapes. and one of the biggest thing in this game is that all of the mini games were kind of very tightly connected to the overall game experience. So they weren't like taped on or something. And yeah. I need to see what I'm going to next week play, but I think I'm going to be away for a weekend, so possibly don't have a time for start out Metal Gear Solid. Was thinking that I'm going to play Metal Gear Solid games series through, and it's going to take a while. And Dark Souls is continuing, so that's my plan. Going to do mostly Finnish stuff, but when I actually have a reason, I'm going to do English videos. But thanks for watching. I hope you have a nice day, and let's see what the future brings, because future is not something that we need to dread on. I think it's going to have a pretty good things store for all of us. All the best. All the best. My second screen actually died. Streamer having problems. That's one of my fortes. Come on, screen. You can do it. Who designs these things? Actually, I have my grandmother's television as a second screen. So, yeah. Goodbye.